Hi, third, fourth, and fifth grade leaders. We are preparing for June 2nd, the last week of our series, Be Strong and Courageous. This week, we're talking about Joshua taking the land, that God had sent them into the land of the Canaanites, and knew that all of the people there were strong and big people and that they had strong beliefs. But he promised Joshua before they got to the River Jordan that he would go before them and he would take care of the people if Joshua and the Israelites would follow his commands. So what we're going to see in this last battle is that God was doing exactly what he said he was going to do, but God was in charge. Joshua was not. God determined whom Israel battled and how Israel would win. God fought for Joshua and the Israelites, saving them and giving them victory over their enemies. God gave them the land just as he promised it. If God has promised it, I can count on it. That is our bottom line for today. And how important for all of us to let that completely sink in. If God promises it, if it says it in his word, he is going to do it and we can count on it. We don't have to lean on our own understanding. We can count on it. And then one thing to help, especially your third, fourth, and fifth graders know is if they want to know what God has for them or has promised to do in them or through them, they should read their Bibles. That might be their next step. So help them see. And I think Joshua is a great place to read some of that stuff. If they don't like reading, maybe they can get on their parents' phone and listen to the Bible app, and the Bible app will read it to them. And there's even some different versions of it where you can hear it in a dramatic way. And so hearing God's word is just the same as reading it. And hopefully one day they'll get to the point where they want to know God's promises themselves and they will read the Bible regularly themselves. All right, your social activity this series has been a little challenging, and it's been challenging on purpose because we are hoping the kids see that it takes all of us many times before information sinks into our brain. So what you're going to do is write a 10-digit number on your board. The kids are going to try to tell you or they'll read the numbers, then you're going to cover them up. They're going to try to tell you the numbers in order. And if they can't remember, give them a couple more chances to read the numbers. And then you're going to ask them to read a few words. And I've written 5 just random words on here. And they'll read those 5 words just like the numbers. When they are done reading those words, you're going to cover those up. They're going to try to tell you what they remember. And then you're going to give them the chance to read them a couple more times. Then you're going to go back. You're going to ask them to tell you what the numbers were in order. Now, you may have a few smarty pants who remembered numbers. Typically, you'll have somebody who can either remember numbers or remember words. I'll be interested to see if you have a few kids that can remember both. That would be pretty amazing. But all of us, even the smartest of us, need to spend time in God's word regularly so that we can remember God's commands and not lean on our own understanding. So that's what that whole activity is to help us to see. In large group, we're going to go through the story of taking the land. And then when you get to small group, you are going to have some cards that look like this. And this looks like regular card stuff. It is not. It is Shrinky Dink paper. I don't know if you did Shrinky Dinks when you were a kid. I loved doing Shrinky Dinks. And so what the kids are going to do is color these, and you have some sticker instruction sheets that you're going to stick to a bag for them. And they're going to take these home, stick them in the oven, and they should shrink up to about business card size. And when they shrink up, they can take a string or a keychain and attach this to their backpack for school, or they can attach this to a gym bag or some kind of sports bags, or maybe they just want to hang it in their room as a reminder of this memory verse. Because if we can get this memory verse, if we can get that when we trust in God with all of our heart and we don't lean on our own understanding, where we don't try to use our brain to try to figure out what God has for us, just our brain, where we go to God's word, where we make sure that we are understanding God's word, going to trusted teachers who can help us understand God's word. When we do all of that and submit all of our ways to Him, then God makes our path straight. He directs us in what He has for us and who He has for us to be. Your memory verse activity, if you want to do it again, is your dominoes with all of the words of the memory verse. You'll line them up and then you can make them all fall down. Thank you so much for leading. I'm excited about our next series. Our next series will take us through the rest of the summer and help us see how God is creating His kingdom in the Promised Land.